Hell yes! That theme it just pumps you up like crazy. I always loved that song from the original Mortal Kombat. Welcome back to another chapter of Final Kombat. Last time. Hold on, I'm drawing a blank here. Damn it. Fuck. Raiden actually had disturbing visions as he was discussing with Fujin on He Must Win for Armageddon. And Taven actually arrived at Edenia, where Raiden explained about his corrupt family. Whether it be his brother Dagon, it be his half-brother Rain, or even his father Argus abandoning him, as well as Dagon. He was actually faithless, and Rain was actually a bastard because he was left in the care of commoners, as Argus abandoned him to hide his affair. And then there was Dagon, who actually woke up early thanks to Cairo, even though he didn't mean it. But he became corrupt too, and Raiden said that only Taven and Dahlia are the most purest members of the Edenian god family, so it seems. So, Liu Kang and Kitana actually explained the battle plans to the Edenians, and then the soiree was going on. And Hanzo actually caught up with Kenshi as they were returning to the Shiraryu base after Hanzo assisted Taven up Shao Kahn's tower. So, with all that out of the way, let's begin. Alright, continuation 10, He Must Win. Hanzo and Kenshi went to baby Takeda's crib, which, by the way, they fought with Bi-Han, and Kenshi actually confronted him. The wooden bedpost glowed with the dim lighting from the neon orange bulbs in the opaque bedchamber. Kenshi was the first to tend him as he picked him up, which soothed the infant's sobs. He also stopped and looked at his face while the Sento began to illuminate, a signal in which he was utilizing his psychokinesis. After a few moments, he turned to his close partner. He knows of Armageddon. He must be reading our minds and sense the tension outside. Yes, he must have. Someone needs to tend him when Armageddon would arise. I think... Kenshi looked back while holding Takeda close. You actually want to stay? It's all for the best. Takeda can't be left alone. He already knows. And considering how petty the Elder Gods are, which they are, how they lied to me about my family, and how overwhelming the war is. Besides, I won't be useful against Blaze. I see. And if anything should happen to you, which is why I'm entrusting you, I'm grateful you decided to stay and care for him. That's all I would ask for if the worst should happen. Hanzo took a few moments to process everything, then he nodded in affirmation before he laid a hand on his shoulder. Minutes later, the ninja left, using his outstanding skills in stealth, as he was restless and remembered hearing the weakened Shinnok's words. I must return the amulet to him. Forgive me, Lord Raiden. He declared me as his messenger, to retrieve his amulet once his double should kickstart Armageddon with Shao Kahn, only longing for his sister Cetrion to be restored in conjunction with a Dark Heart gem, encasing their intact memories. He and I have more in common than I know. I will entrust his words. In the spire, the shackled Umbra kinetic transmitted via the dark crystallized heart straight to Hanzo, as if he was reading his angst much like Kenshi. Unfortunately, his essence was consumed by him, thus using his antimatter to form a portal, and thus led the invasion. Shinnok already knew since Hanzo, who was employed by Quan after his death in the first tournament. He knew of the Elder Gods' deception of their promise to restoring Hanzo's family as their champion. He knew his descent into eternal madness. He knew well of Quan's treachery, and he's the only one since he'd been there and slipped under Raiden's radar. He hopes he shall restore everyone if Cetrion's revival was possible. He held a small gizmo in his palm and rose once he was a long distance away from the tall base, or Hanzo. I sure hope this works. Well, aren't you the blue lonely one? Bihan looked up, following the alto voice, and his eyes beheld a familiar foe who descended. Ashra! I should have known you'd be here, since you were the one who poisoned me with your holy light. She rose a hand and countered. Ha! I only purified your damn balls, so I could be lifted from the accursed nether realm, and apparently it got you free from that demonic shackles too. But enough of your sarcasm. All realms are now at stake. A slimmer female walked up from beside the Kriss wielder. She was just as immobilized as if frozen by the cryomancer she once knew. Bihan? Yes, who are you? Serena? She slowly stepped toward her fallen hero who once saved her from the clutches of Quan Chi and Shinnok. Sub-Zero! Enough of that mushy stuff. I only found him so we can get our arses moving to Edenia. Besides, the rest of your defunct squad is waiting for you there too. Ashra spoke as if her mouth was dripping with venom. Before he had a chance to object, Serena sort of whimpered, Quan Chi. If I see him once we go to the Pyramid of Argus and meet Blaze, I would... No. Impossible, Han. Quan would have no chance thralling you again. We actually have the legendary cobalt armor ready for you. The Shokan worked hard crafting suits of them since Shinnok's invasion over the kingdom, which is in Shinnok's uprising. The assassin was in disbelief, almost as if it looked like he grimaced. Cobalt? How can the Shokan help us? More importantly, how would this typical element reject Quan Chi's magic? Ah, crap. I shouldn't have made an indent here. You'll see. It's done wonders. I wish I could have thought of this myself. A lot of things has changed since your damnation, subby. Sub-Zero, we're all counting on you. This is your chance to redeem yourself and fight with your brother. I won't miss this moment for all the realms. You two united could surely help to extinguish our greatest threats. We're all there. Mostly fixated on Serena's compassion, the cold-hearted assassin could have sworn his heart was starting to liquefy for once. I wish it was like that in the games. Meanwhile, the ashen face murmured what was taking his messengers so long. Ah! He was struck from behind as he was being electrocuted by Raiden's lightning, while at the same time losing his energy as if being sucked out by a straw. The double snickered. Thank you for providing me with the energy I need for serving me so well. My chance for Armageddon has been brought to the forefront at long last. All who fall shall serve me in the aftermath, the Revenants especially. Once Blaze and my subjects shall be wiped out, I will remain unstoppable. Shao Kahn would be my enforcer to eliminate all those fleas. And as soon as I'm finished with you, I may take the amulet for myself. All the realms shall bow down to me and fulfill my every whim. Everything's coming to plan, and I owe it all to you! With the fresh cluster of antimatter, Shinnok's more malevolent self was able to form a portal of the same violent energy. He snatched the black heart gem away before he made one last snicker. Have a nice day, my pawn! He then leapt into the rip leading to his final destination. Alright, is everything ready and fully functioning? Sonia was preoccupied and tenacious as ever within the new Special Forces base, even though it was still a work in progress from Su Hao's invasion a few months ago. The main deck was still operational. Everything should be up and running, General Blade. Good. Are you sure you want to partake in this, Jax? Of course. Vera understood, and you won't make it far without me, he boasted while clinking his fists together, making his metal arms ring. Right, that's for sure. I heard you finished off my murderer back there, Johnny admired. But I'm surprised you're taking this well, especially since you are pregnant. I'm only a few months in, Johnny. Hell, I don't even know if it is a girl, or whether or not it's Cassie yet. She couldn't forget Aiko's point of advice, making time and preparations for her birth as she existed during her dystopian future. And I hated the idea it was a one-night stand. Should have been better than that. If we do survive, there's a good chance for Jackie. I'd actually love for someone to take up the slack in the OIA and Special Forces. I'm getting too old for this shit, man. Oh yeah, Aiko. I was about to tell her about that special proposition. That is, if we do live through this. I was planning to tell her of promoting her fanfics into movies, and I'll be the director for all of them, while she'd be my consultant. They would be in all kinds of languages, in American and Chinese. I owe her that much, especially from all the shit we'd done serving Onaga. I wonder how Stryker and Cabal may be involved. I'm not sure how he would settle down. He's not the type of guy who wants to be dragged into those supernatural shenanigans. You know how reluctant he was in Khan's invasion? I'm sure Cabal would convince him. Cyrax was more than ready. Aren't you? He talked in a monotone digital voice, repeating the same note in each word. After receiving advanced equipment from the Lin Kuei, courtesy of Smoke, I should be more than prepared to deal with my enemies, counting Oniro, Sector, and the new Takunin clan. Raiden assured we shouldn't worry. Raiden assured we shouldn't worry. I've heard of the sudden firebomb back at the Hidden Red Dragon base. The Black Dragons were drawn to it, knowing their location. And he said that as long as they're trapped and wounded, they won't be much use in Armageddon. I just hope his words are true. Kenshi's spending his last moments with his son. He and Hanzo need this. And I just received word he's staying behind, too. Man, good choice on his part. Oh, man, good choice on his part. I hope Cabal would settle these matters for real, and Stryker better not do anything ridiculous. Don't forget, Outworld and Edenia are ahead of our time. Don't forget, Outworld and Edenia are ahead of our time, so we must get moving as soon and as efficiently as possible. There's no going back now. It's time to go all out. Stryker and Cabal actually met up with them, and they marched in from behind. Are we ready? Not a minute too soon. It's been a long time since I partnered with you. Great to see you too, Stryker, Cabal. If it weren't for me, he wouldn't have been involved. He already has a girlfriend. But as long as our nemesis, the Red and Black Dragons, shouldn't interfere, and if we take on our enemies tactfully, we might still stand, even if I should go down of blaze wood. It's great to have you back with us, and if we would perish, we won't go alone. Then, let's settle up. Lock and load. I picture Stryker being voiced by that actor in Defenders of the Realm. The Oriental and Edenian were intrigued as they explained to Orin and Cairo who they were and haven't seen them in eons since Shao Kahn's invasion, and how Cabal deserted Kano, even when the Black Dragons worked for Khan and were a subsidiary group from the Red Dragons. So, the Red Dragons had another faction, a bitter rival and a sworn enemy. I'm amazed Dagon never bothered with them. The Red Serpent expressed his confusion. Much as the Shirai Ryu was formed by a rogue member of the Lin Kuei. Unlike them, they're now allies, the Elemental explained. They're brothers in arms. If only Taven and Dagon weren't always so competitive with each other. And their parents, Rain. They are trapped in the rubble, buried alive. For now, at least. The battle may just be determined by the demigod's fates, if Blaze is somehow connected with each outcome. Whether Taven or Dagon survives would defeat Blaze in mortal combat. The result might not turn in our favor. I had already passed on my words to Aiko. I pray for Master Raiden to decipher them. He must win, and our hearts must be one and together. And with that, we can beat Blaze and thwart Armageddon. I hope the Oriental is right. Kung Jin should be here any minute now. School should be ending, Aiko mentioned to Kung Lao. Together they were sitting on the bed within their shared room. She was clutching on her own jewel tightly. She wasn't sure how she explained to a tween about the end of all realms. He'll find out soon enough, once Lord Raiden would address to everyone. He paused for a moment, then laid a consoling hand on hers. I want to ask you to do something, but I'm not sure how. I promise you that if I can, I will. She was still fixated onto her lover. What if I asked you to stay out of this? No matter what happens, to stay out of this battle. Kung Lao? Why? He eventually laid another hand onto her, proving the cardiokinetics some warmth and comfort one last time. Please. All right. She couldn't hold back her tears as she leaned into him. Please turn home soon. He simply returned the pressure. The jewel that was loose upon her lap began to glow as they kissed and embraced. It almost felt like hours, but Lao just wrapped his arms around her from behind as he rested her face onto her back, and she turned to kiss him despite her tears. They held on to each other as minutes went by. So, if anything, if the worst should happen, the rest of us would follow. This is my estimate, Fujin, and while we belong to the forces of light, our best chance is to embrace both sides of our psyche, the light and the darkness together, as one. It would surely give us the home field advantage. Liu Kang and Kitana should be at the Dragon Grotto, spending their final moments. Earthrealm may be behind Edenia and Outworld's time, but the best time to act is now. The God Brothers spotted Nightwolf churning his bonfire to green flames, absorbing his ancestors' spirits. The Shaolin should gift every one of our allies with Aiko's heart jewels. She should be occupied with Kung Lao. Her experiment was successful, and it was proven to provide the opposite effects from the Gemma Tetsuri. Raiden's mind had figments of the said incident involving the Zatara's ruler's heart, inflicting toxic influences on those affected by it. we would be given an extra fighting chance, where there's stored energy to revive us and give us extra energy. The monks and other outsiders can monitor us as well when we march down the southern crater. Regretfully, they can only be used once. In case you're wondering, it was kind of inspired by the red fairies in Zelda. You know, those ones in the bottle that revive you in battle. Well, that's kind of it. Remembering the incident involving the Gem of Tetsuri, Aiko reminded Raiden and Nightwolf. The Thunder God hesitated to recollect his thoughts of that myth, then remembering the intense quarrels between the combatants. It was theorized Aiko's gem can also be the opposite effects. Instead, its positive energy being absorbed and carried over by the user. Nightwolf magnified the effect, as he was the one who made the infected combatants as they did against Quan Chi. Lest we forget the cobalt armor. Yes, the Edenian royals are making sure it's in full supply. To negate any sorcery, like with Quan Chi. Precisely. But Hanzo, Frederick, and Aiko will be staying behind, even Asgarth. No surprise. And Shinnok? If Nightwolf is correct on creating antimatter, he could be a very dangerous threat, in conjunction with Shao Kahn and our adversaries. Lost his train of thought. I see now. He must win. What is it? He must win. He recalled the visions, trying to come up with an essential strategy. Our hearts, one and together. Aiko and her message she was referring to. I believe it may have something to do with joining, merging, of two into one. Shinnok! He diffused himself into two. They might combine themselves. If not, then what if I can fuse myself with my own doppelganger and utilize both forms of myself? Then I can accomplish that. He must win. Are you saying... His mind flashed to the moments when Raiden sacrificed most of his vitality as he teleported Lao and Nightwolf away from the blast that failed to kill Onaga. Reforming an Earthrealm as Raiden was on life support in the Jinsei chamber, and soon giving his malicious half a massive jolt of electricity, which resulted in his restoration as he absorbed it. You mean you are willing to join yourself with a mortal? Like you did with your double as Shinnok divided with his? Brother, is that even possible? Raiden shook his head. No, but I am willing to find out. Our brothers and sisters should be informed of Armageddon through Aiko's hearts. He hesitated as he sensed something. It is time. Our forces are gathering, Fujin. Our forces are gathering. Fujin, you must prepare them and lead them to the Edenian palace. I have last-minute affairs to attend to at the Dragon Grotto. What? But Liu and Kitana are there. Fujin was flabbergasted on having a party crash. All he did was smile as he laid a firm hand on his shoulder. Precisely. His eyes fizzled with lightning before he conjured a portal. Liu Kang, Armageddon is upon us. This will determine the fate for all the realms. And that shall be. Whoever is able to defeat Blaze, aside from the two clashing brothers, will determine our fate. And if we do perish, we will perish in battle. And all realms will go with us if they shall collapse. Raiden, he told you all this? I was discussing with his visions, Kitana, and he kept saying these same 3 words. He must win. I must win. You? As Grand Champion of Mortal Kombat, I defeated each of our enemy overlords, Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn, Shinnok, the Deadly Alliance, and assisted against Onaga with my spirit. I must win against Blaze. Liu, he was created by Delia, a sorceress and empress of outstanding magic. A mortal cannot possibly withstand its horrific and spiritual incinerating wrath. Which is why you need me. Which is why you need more than you can possess. A gruff voice greeted from behind before the Edenian was shocked in bolts of blue electricity. Kitana, no! Before Liu Kang got to her, she just collapsed in his arms as he held her and brought her down to the damp soil. Raiden, what have you done? Liu's fist ignited with his anger quickly rising. Liu Kang, stop! I had only put Kitana into a coma. She's still alive. He reached down and touched her neck. A weak pulse was still beating. Her heart rate had also dropped. Even her own gem suddenly went dark. He picked it up and inspected it. What are you planning? She won't be safe. Yes, she will. Everyone will. Our hearts, Liu Kang. One and together. He must win. He was in doubt, and for the first time a trace of fear. So, you would stun me? To keep me safe? He then saw his mentor's palms light up as bolts licked them as he looked down at Kitana.
I would rather save you.
The monk was just stupefied, both mentally and physically. What was Raiden attempted to do? Before he had a chance to object with his mouth agape, Raiden just laid both of his hands onto him. Both bodies began to light up like a supernova as they remained huddled, even when Liu squealed at times where lightning ripped through both of their bodies. Aiko was outside the academy as tears fell after she witnessed Kung Lao and Fujin leave. Frederick began to tend to her, hugging and rubbing her while she did the same. All of a sudden she felt a jolt. When the electricity hit her and struggled as she rid of her heart gem, it dropped to the tile ground floor, and the small item continued to have its epicenter brighten while bolts licked it. She was surprised it didn't shatter, and a bit frightened, although some blurry image caught her eye. She looked up as she felt something emanating from the grotto. Something pulled her to it, and there was a blue zip. She hesitantly reached toward it, only letting her fingers delicately touch it when the rip suddenly expanded to a portal leading to the sacred spring. That wasn't for me, Aiko. Storing whatever occurred she had left, she ran and jumped into it. Aiko traced the cardiokinetic signature clutching her own jewel, and eventually followed it to the source within the atrium itself. Her feet began to vibrate while she witnessed an immense white beam of light with it, which then dissipated. She ran over to the display, recognizing the muscular larger man standing before her as if it were a Hercules look-alike. I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. Long locks of gray hair hung to the side, to the top in a small bun, a red shiny headband, as if made of metal, wrapped around his head. His chest expanded along with his whole body, as if twice the size. Numerous white lines tattooed all over his arms. His usual black pants and shoes also had the same etchings, and his eyes had lit up in a bright white hue as if they belonged to Raiden's. Only except the figure that stood as mighty and unwavering as a mountain of muscle was... Liu Kang! Aiko ran straight toward him, recognizing his features. He then took out the same heart gem which actually grew twice in size, and lit brighter than before, as if it belonged to a dragon's heart, almost ablaze. He laid it beside Kitana's unconscious body. Give me your heart gem. His voice changed, as if it had a distinctive accent to it, and it sounded deeper as well. You want? Of course! Aiko knew she didn't have the time to object his words. She took hers out, although hers wasn't fused with theirs. Instead, he laid it near Kitana's own and just transferred her energy into Aiko's. "What are you doing? This is my last one!" The godlike elemental nodded. "Yes. Give this to the Red Dragon Kero. He'll know what to do." She just looked at Kitana's empty vessel. "Liu Kang, what have you done? With Kitana?" "Go now, Aiko. Time is of the essence. I must fulfill my destiny as the Chosen One, and the Protector, for all the realms." "No, you can't!" "I will fight Blaze until the end." You mean you're... "Aiko, this will be my final combat." With Aiko still stupefied, Liu just marched to her and kissed her forehead deeply until he departed. The cardiokinetic was just in mere shock, frozen, and sort of delusional as her body began to have her temperature rise gradually, while also igniting the two hearts on hand. All Liu did was give a wry smile before looking up, and then vanished with a large flash of light and clap of thunder. Ah, damn, I forgot to bold the author notes. This startled Aiko for almost a minute before she processed everything. Raiden. In Armageddon, the gem of Tetsuri was actually displayed as an Easter egg within Reptile's lair, only it's a green crystallized gem and vibrates when a player gets close to it. Very fascinating since Aiko's strategy was put to good use here, as well as having that bonus in Armageddon. Hanzo, along with Asgarth, Aiko, and Frederick, are sitting out Armageddon, 4 combatants watching and waiting for utter destruction. But would it be an ominous danger if Hanzo should attain the foreboding amulet and offer it to Shinnok? Only time will tell, although his desire to have his sister revived hit a snag on the doppelganger snatched away the black crystal. I had to add the small scene of Ashura, Serena, and Bihan at the last minute. I didn't know how to tie up that loose end until now. And there are the songs for that. Needless to say, it was one of the most tumultuous chapters I had to write, but I'm glad I finally am itching closer to the climax. There was quite the surprise merger at the end as Raiden and Liu Kang fused into one body. But would it be enough to put an end to Blaze and our greatest adversaries? Stay tuned, combatants. God damn, I can't wait to get this done. So until then, this is the Ikron Writer signing out. And oh man, I can't wait to get this thing done. So, I'll see you guys later.